Hello, and welcome to the Value 360 series right here on our TV network. I am your host, Dr. Nkem. As I normally say, although my daytime job is working as a healthcare business executive, my showtime job is spending time here with you on the Value 360 show, where I bring you ripples of valued information, ideas, and solutions that help you sculpt your multidimensionality, both as a professional and in your personal life. In our show today, we will recognize and celebrate women all over the world. And our topic for today is the health of a woman. We will share contributions that women have made in the community, in the nation, and in the global society, so we understand why the healthy state of a woman is crucial in the world at large. We will also have a special guest that will join us later on to tell us more about what can be done to promote women's health, particularly for Black women and minority women. To get us started, let me share some key facts about the economy and women and our general health status. First of all, we need economies to grow to sustain the world we live in. And when more women work, economies grow. In the US, women's paid labor accounts for more than $5 trillion towards the US GDP on an annual basis. And on an international scale, according to the Boston Consulting Group, women's control of the world's investable wealth is on the rise, possibly now at about $72 trillion worldwide. According to Connect America, closing the employment rates gender gap would have huge implications for the global economy, boosting Americans' GDP by as much as 9%. In the Eurozone, GDP can be boosted about 13% increase, as well as Japanese GDP by 16%. So now let's look on the flip side at the health stats. According to the CDC, 14% of women aged 18 and above in the US are in fair or poor health. This is about 20 million women or more. 2 out of every 3 caregivers in the United States are women. And women who are caregivers have a greater risk for poor physical and mental health, including depression and anxiety. Lack of self-care accounts for more than 60% of the chronic diseases that we know of. And according to WHO, the World Health Organization, women also still die of preventable causes tied to maternal causes and cancer. So the question is, what can we do to improve women's health? Well, here to discuss this question, share her expertise, and the impressive work she's been doing for so many years is our special guest, Linda Goler-Blount. Welcome, Linda. So happy to have you here.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nkem. It's great to be here.
Awesome. So for those of you watching at home, I'm honored to introduce my friend and colleague. So let me read her bio. It's super impressive, so I'm going to read this one out. So Linda is the president and CEO of the Black Women's Health Imperative, which is the only national organization focused on Black women's emotional, physical, and financial health and wellness. In her role, Linda has overseen more than $20 million invested in Black women to prevent chronic diseases and HIV, ensure reproductive justice and healthy maternal outcomes, and advocate for policies that protect Black women. Before joining BWHI, Linda was the first ever National Vice President of Health Disparities at the American Cancer Society, where she was responsible for developing a nationwide health equity strategy to reduce cancer incidence and mortality among the underserved populations. She has extensive international health experience. She has served as a consulting epidemiologist to government ministries in Germany, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Malawi, Jamaica, and Trinidad and Tobago, where she lived for 4 years. You know, I'm jealous. I wish I was there with her in all these places. She is a member of the American Public Health Association and the National Association of Healthcare Services Executives. She serves on the Community Health Charities Board, the University of Michigan School of Public Health Summer Enrichment Program Board, and is the past chair of the University of Michigan School of Public Health Alumni Board of Governors. She previously served on the Emory University Center of Ethics Advisory Board and the Morehouse School of Medicine Public Health Program Advisory Committee. Ooh, she is loaded. She is a Michigan native and she holds a Master of Public Health degree in epidemiology from the University of Michigan and a Bachelor of Science in Computer Engineering and Operations Research from Eastern Michigan University. Linda is a sought after speaker, a published author, and a champion for the rights of Black women and all women. Linda, it is an honor to have you here. Thank you for joining us.
I am so looking forward to this conversation.
Awesome. So let's start with the first question here. Knowing your role in BWI and the work that has been done to understand what aspects of healthcare are more important or most important to Black women, what have you learned that you can share with us?
Well, you can imagine, Dr. Nkem, there is so much to Black women's health. 8 years ago, when I started, we conducted a survey. We really wanted to get at the heart of how Black women viewed their health, what it meant to them, how they defined it. So we actually asked them this very simple question: what does health mean to you? We asked almost 5,000 Black women, and it was a purely qualitative study. So we just wanted words and phrases from Black women that defined health. And what we found actually was a bit surprising. About 85% of the words and phrases Black women used to define health were psychosocial, like I'm calm, I'm at peace, I'm in control. About 10% were financial. I can keep a roof over my head, I can take care of my kids. Only about 5% of the words and phrases that Black women used to define health had anything to do with physical health or disease state. So what that said to us was that Black women were saying to us, if I can get my mind right and my spirit right and my money right, I can take care of everything else. And that is about how we look at things. It's not that having diabetes or breast cancer isn't important, but in the context of our lived experiences, it's not the most important thing because we have so many other things to think about and be concerned about. And so at the Black Women's Health Imperative, when we were thinking about our work, our policy work, our advocacy work, our programs, we first start with how does it feel to be a Black woman in this society in this time? And then we go from there, because if we don't understand what our sisters are feeling, then we can't possibly know what they need and how to design our programs and services and how to advocate for them in the best way possible.
Correlate what you just said and what I mentioned earlier. So even though scientific research is being done, it does align with what you're saying. They're telling you, if I can get my money right, my mind right, then I will be fine. And just, a few minutes ago, I was trying to state that the economy and how women contribute to that economy actually makes a nation, the global society, thrive. So isn't that neat actually that those two things really align? So that's insightful to hear.
Yeah, it'd be great if researchers would just listen to Black women and redesign their research. We have the problem solved, wouldn't we?
Awesome, absolutely. So one thing that comes to mind in terms of what the women told you and how I feel personally, I do tell people that if I look right, I feel right, I can do right. So I think it's also personal. I'm sure you can also connect with that as well. Well, we're going to continue this conversation, Linda, right after we take a short commercial break. Lots to talk about, lots to identify in terms of women's health and how that ties into the economy, and more to come about things that we can do as Black women to support all women in this journey that we call life.
Every great song has its own kind of vibe, just like the streets they come from.
Now all that music from across America will go head to head
On one stage. Every state and territory will compete live for your votes.
in the biggest televised music event you've ever seen.
America's next great hit.
Could come from your hometown.
American Song Contest premieres live March 21st on NBC.
I'm Charles Meriday, and I'm in the restaurant business. In my 20 years as a chef and restaurant owner, I've been able to work and eat in some of the great kitchens around the globe. There's a whole side of the restaurant that most people will never get to see. So now, I want to take you to the back of the house, into kitchens of some of the best chefs in the world. Along the way, I'll share some of my own tips and recipes so you can cook like a pro too. So join me in the back of the house for a whole new perspective on cooking and food. Order in. Roger. Serve it, please.
I'm glad that you came. Please.
Drew on the key, so they should not.
back to the Value 360 show. And for those of you who are just tuning in, we are discussing the health of a woman with our special guest, Linda Goller Blount, the president and CEO of BWHI, Black Women's Health Imperative. And she's been sharing her experiences about what she's been doing for the past over a decade, actually, in supporting and promoting women's health. So before we left for the commercial break, she had stated that, researchers should do a better job listening to Black women or women in general. So Linda, what do you think professionals should do better, both professionals in medicine, public health, and in media when they talk about race and gender and health?
Yeah. Well, we saw Dr. Nkem in the last 2 years with both COVID-19 and the murders of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and others, what happens when people don't know how to talk about data and race and gender and health. What happens is the media and even public health and medical professionals lead people to believe it's their fault. And we know that's not true. But that's because the context in which we live and in which the data are even created is never shared. We might talk about, for COVID-19, Black people are dying 2 to 3 times, and in some parts of DC, it was even 7 to 9 times more than white people. When we talk about breast cancer, we talk about the Black female breast cancer mortality rate being 40% higher than that for white women. And that's all we hear. But researchers, media, pundits never talk about why. So people say, oh, well, there must be something wrong with Black women then, or there must be something wrong with Black people. Well, first of all, we know there's no biologic or genetic determinant for race. So it's not that. The part that's not ever discussed is access. If there's higher mortality rates, that represents the fact that some people had access maybe to early detection, maybe to prevention, maybe to quality treatment, and some didn't. If you look at breast cancer, for example, in 1982, the breast cancer incidence and mortality rates between Black women and white women were about the same. Now we talk about a 42% gap. Well, if you look at the graphs, in 1983, we learned how to detect and treat breast cancer. And so the differences we see between Black women and white women simply reflect who got access and who didn't. We saw that with COVID-19. Where was testing initially placed? Not typically where Black people lived. Where was the best treatment occurring? In academic medical centers, typically not where Black people live. So these issues are really about access. And so we need people in my profession, we need physicians, researchers, and people in the media to give that context when they're talking about data in relation to race and gender, so that the listener understands, oh, there are societal factors, there's historical factors, there are a number of other determinants for why the data are what they are, and not simply because either something's wrong with a group of people or a group of people is simply not interested in its health.
I couldn't agree with you more. At Medical Links, part of what we do is support our primary care practicing physicians to provide community health services to address social determinants. Because when you talk about access, it's layered. So do I not have access because I don't have health coverage, health insurance coverage? Do I not have access because the distance to travel is too far? Do I not have access because I'm busy, tied down as a caregiver, as a head of household, single provider for the family, and just don't have time for myself? So it's just so layered. And I think I wanted to hear more from you in terms of those different layers of access and what you have led in many initiatives at BWHI to even try to address this a little bit.
Yeah. And you're so right when you're talking about these layers, and you mentioned the social determinants of health. And a lot of us heard about these determinants being housing, transportation, education, a number of these so-called social factors that provide barriers to this access. But what is interesting and really unfortunate is that in talking about these social determinants of health, public health professionals, researchers, people in the media, again, rarely ask the question why the social determinants exist in the first place. And what we're talking about for Black women is 400 years of racial and gender oppression. We cannot escape that, and that historical legacy of enslaving people and then creating systems and policies and structures to support the enslavement or just denigration of a population is what has led to where we are now. Black women literally carry the stress of 400 years of this history in our DNA. There's nothing wrong with us, but our bodies have had to adapt to this. So we see it at the telomere level. We see it at the DNA level. So what we're doing at the Black Women's Health Imperative is first helping Black women to understand that. Because Dr. Nkem, you're out doing your work. If something goes wrong, your first thought is, okay, what did I do? And then, what do I need to adapt and change about myself? We want Black women to know there's nothing you need to change about yourself. You didn't do anything wrong. The systems are organized against you. So we're trying to provide strategies and tools and techniques for Black women to make use of the best evidence we have to get around these systems to be as healthy as possible. So finding that mentor at work, finding that that person will be your champion, finding a provider who preferably looks like you, but certainly will listen to you, and then taking somebody along with you to your appointments just in case, so you have another set of ears that can be on the lookout for, is this person really treating me the way they might treat their most favorite relative in the whole world? People who, go to their schools and watch teachers like hawks to make sure that our children are being educated. There's lots of things we can do to help support our health. And the thing that I'll just to sort of end with on this, that we say to Black women all the time, is make a list. We all are overwhelmed. Make a list of those things that are overwhelming. Make a list of the people who can help you. Draw a line between those things and then ask for help. Just like we never say no to our friends when they ask us for help, your friends won't say no either. We have to let Black women know that they're not alone on this journey called life. They've got a support team, they've got a tribe. Turn to it and ask for help.
I like that. Turn to each other and ask for help, and not just your fellow Black women or minority women, also women of other races who are just as interested in understanding just what the woman goes through, and that could be part of your support system. I think I like the way you mentioned something about education in terms of what's happening in the schools, because we are women now, we were once girls, right? So how do we even begin at an early stage to educate young girls to know what they should not be ashamed of, shy away from, and things like that? Can you just quickly just touch on one or two initiatives that you have done at BWHI to target these young women?
Yeah, this is so critical. I'll tell you, a couple of years ago, we had a conversation with young women at Spelman College on Spelman's campus about a very sensitive topic for some, which was, getting your period and what that experience was like. And I was surprised because I wasn't aware of the trauma that can be associated with, that transition to womanhood. And a lot of these.
Sorry to cut you off, but we have to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue where we stopped about the study you learned about at Spelman. So let's take a quick break and we'll be right back.
10 years after designing Cookology's flagship location at Dulles Town Center, DBI recently had the privilege of designing the second location at the center of Ballston's new experiential retail development called Ballston Quarter. From our experience with designing the first location, we now had the opportunity to expand on some of the design concepts for this cooking school. The main design challenge at this second location was to create a highly efficient yet flexible classroom layout that could either function as separate classrooms, combined classrooms, or could completely open up into one large event space.
So this first classroom is for mostly our birthday parties, and it's also a seating area for our corporate team building, our cooking classes, date night, or whatever. This is kitchen 3. 3 is large enough that you can put 20 people in it. We can open these doors and people cook. So 3 and 4 kind of go together.
To maximize the efficiency of the space and to facilitate multiple classroom configurations, we introduced the concept of one central kitchen for all the classrooms to share. Beyond all the pragmatic concerns of designing a cooking school, it was very important to reflect the cookology culture and infuse some fun and playful design elements like these circular colored pendant light fixtures that anchor both ends of the space. The beauty of the overall design highly depended on finding an elegant, affordable, and user-friendly way to separate the classrooms, and we were fortunate to discover a system which struck just the right balance between design aesthetics and functionality. In addition to the partitions and the pendant fixtures, the blue-stained concrete floors, the pops of colored furniture throughout, and the overall industrial aesthetic all came together to create a vibrant atmosphere that everyone can enjoy.
We want people to feel like they're in a professional kitchen, that they get to be kind of in a restaurant, but at the same time, it's safe and it's functional and it's really made for the customer experience.
The entire design experience has been fantastic, and the space has turned out beautifully. DBI is thrilled to add Cookology's new location in Ballston Quarter to its portfolio of experiential retail.
Welcome back to the Value 360 show here on our TV network. And for those of you, again, just tuning in, we are discussing the health of a woman with our special guest, Linda Goler-Blount, the president and CEO of the Black Women's Health Imperative. She's been sharing her experience on how she has spent the past couple of years improving women's health. So, Linda, before we left for the break, you were talking about the study at Spelman that was focused on girls transitioning to women. Can you continue?
Sure. It's, as I was saying, it was surprising to me the amount of trauma and discomfort associated with what is supposed to be sort of a beautiful part of a young woman's life. The students at Spelman told us many stories of being shamed by parents, by other relatives, by being treated suddenly very differently. Even our founder of our organization, of the Black Women's Health Imperative, Billie Avery, shared her experience of her mother literally slapping her the day her period started. And this trauma sort of surrounded, sex and sexual activity. I mean, these are young girls. Obviously, this is not even something they're thinking about, but it reflected sort of the fear that is in us as Black women of what could happen to our daughters. And so it wasn't out of any sort of meanness. It was literally out of this fear, this love, and this need to protect young women. So we started a program after we learned and conducted some surveys to get a sense of what this experience is like, called Positive Period, because getting your period should be a positive thing. It should be celebrated. And we have programs on a number of historically Black college and university campuses and college campuses that are not HBCUs. We have women across the country who are reaffirming how positive it is to get your period, what a beautiful thing it is, that it's nothing to be ashamed of. And also what we know from talking to several young women is that when you live in poverty or you're low resource, getting your period can put a financial strain. It's one more set of expenses. And so we heard very difficult stories about girls having to share menstrual products or use things other than what we might conventionally think of as menstrual products during that time. So part of this program also was to donate menstrual products to girls in low resource areas in Georgia and other places, and in Rwanda. So we actually have a sistership program with girls in Rwanda, and it's been really well received. And I can tell you that moms, as well as their daughters, appreciate the positive messaging around this time of their life.
I mean, that's huge. And the fact that this program is not just focused in the US, it's actually an international program is huge. I'm a mother of 3 girls who are in some way, shape, or form at different stages of puberty. And I think for me, plugging into such programs or being aware of them was helpful in terms of what is different. Because while I may not have had a horrible experience, I don't think I had enough education that I would have wanted to have at the time I was transitioning to becoming a woman. So I think just being able to educate my daughters and getting them the right literature and making them not feel shy or embarrassed about it sort of helped them. It still didn't take away from them trying to understand what's going on, right? But it made it a conversation that could be had. So that's really huge what you're doing with that program. So moving along, just to talk about the opportunities that we should focus on, that women have done a lot of contributions over the years, but still struggle. And we hope that there is some importance that we can continue to play in our role in the global society in the future. BWHI has focused on systems and behavior change. So which changes would you like to see improve the health and wellness of Black women and all women?
We have really been shifted our focus to behavior change. And as you said, systems, policy, provider behavior. For years and years and years, as you mentioned, the Black Women's Health Imperative has been engaged in advocacy and making sure that we're educating Black women and all women, to your point, but Black women in particular, about what it means to be healthy, what they can do, and building awareness about healthy behaviors. But now we really have to look at changing behavior and changing systems. So providers have to trust Black women. Providers have to listen. We've seen too many stories of Black women who've given birth, had a problem, their providers didn't listen to them, and tragically they died. We saw Serena Williams had a very near miss, But then Kira Johnson and Shalon Irving also complained but weren't listened to. We see what happens when we're left out of research. COVID-19 was a great example. The pulse oximeters didn't work as well on people with dark skin. Dexamethasone wasn't as effective. So we have to change research behavior. We've got to change policymaker behavior so that we actually have policies in place that promote the health of Black women and women who've been marginalized through history. And honestly, we have to change philanthropic behavior. People who give, philanthropists, are well-intended, but if the money doesn't go to where it's needed, it can't do what they may envision it to do. And so our focus is really on helping people understand what it means, what it looks like, what that behavior change will take, providing those resources, as well as the assistance along the way, so that Black women and women of color don't face those barriers. Because again, it all goes back to an issue of access, whether it's information, healthcare, good jobs, good paying jobs, education. It's not us. There's nothing wrong with us. It's about access. But if we don't have the opportunity, then we cannot improve our health the way we want to. Yeah.
I agree. And I think something that I thought about when you were describing what's most important is the word culturally competent, because not just for Black women and minority women, religion plays a role. I mean, I grew up in the northern part of Nigeria, so most of my friends were Muslims, and just understanding how they navigate life through their own cultural lens, so religious lens, is important so that you can really, again, peel back the layers of access and what it really means, and have it tailored to the women group that you are trying to support, and make sure that it's tailor-made and patient-centered, as I always say. So that's really important that you kind of describe that in a culturally competent manner.
And I agree. Although there are lots and lots and lots of different cultures. And from a physician perspective, it may not be possible to know all of the cultures. And I don't know that it's necessary, but what's necessary is listening. What's necessary is respect and value. If a woman shows up in your office, it is your job to listen and trust that she knows something about her body. She's been living with it for all these years. And to take her words and use them in as a partner to help. Yes, understanding her culture might be helpful, but if you don't, what you can do is just take the time to understand what she's saying and value that. And so we say all the time to providers, when we're doing our anti-bias training, whomever walks in the door, treat that person like they're your most favorite relative on the planet, and whatever care you would provide for that person, provide for that woman in your office at that moment in time.
I totally agree with you. So we'll take a short break again, and when we come back at the other end, we'll just discuss more about what women can do to stay healthy. We'll learn more from Linda and all the different ideas she has, and based on her experience with lots of programs that she has led over the years. So see you on the other side.
Are you a jazz lover? If so, have we got something special for you? Presenting Tracy Hamlin's Sweet Jazz Concert. The first concert of 2022 is Sunday, May 1st, with saxophonist Paula Atherton and the songstress herself, Tracy Hamlin, at the River Creek Country Club in Leesburg, Virginia. Sunday, May 1st at 4 p.m. For more information and tickets, visit www.sweetjazzconcerts.com.
Sponsored by the Bank of Clark.
Style takes too long. I can't fit anything. I have nothing in this closet. Oh, I'll just stay home. I need to purge my closet. Oh, but not that dress. Yo, Taylor here. If you ever thought to say one of these phrases, then this show is for you. Join me at the Style Table where we'll have candid and fun conversations about real women's style issues and wardrobe dilemmas. We will discuss solutions and ideas that will give you a big sigh of relief. You'll learn ways to save money, make money, and enrich the lives of others with the clothes in your closet. We're going to take the stress out of your style.
I used to watch BET, MTV, VH1, now I watch Tempo. Soca, Calypso, Reggae Dancehall. Don't stall, better get tuned in to the tempo. Don't have cable, they got an app. Go to your app store, download that. Whether it's tourism, cuisine, or the social scenes, if it ain't Tempo, it's a rap. Who got the Caribbean views? Tempo. Mr. Latest in Caribbean news? Tempo. You tryna cook Caribbean food? Tempo. You know they got the music videos too? Tempo. Who got the Caribbean views? Tempo. Mr. Latest in Caribbean news? Tempo. You tryna cook Caribbean food? Tempo. You know they got the music videos too? Tempo.
You know you are a hot one. We are lime, we are laugh, we are chat, we no chill, we are hot one. Temperature rise, beer vibes in ya, this a hot one. Link up, connect, bust a sweat when you're dead on the hot one. We gonna spice it up like fire.
Welcome back to the last segment of our Value 360 show today. For those of you who are just tuning in, we are discussing the health of a woman with our special guest, Linda Goler-Blount. She is the president and CEO of the Black Women's Health Imperative, and she's been sharing her experience on how we can improve women's health, particularly for Black and minority women. So to close us out in this segment, Linda, can you share what you think women should do more of to be healthier? And then how can others help?
Well, there is a lot we can do. I will start with, certainly go to bwhi.org and learn more about what we're doing in the programs we have. This year, we're planning to promote screening for 1 million women. If we can do that, we can save 1,500 lives from breast and cervical cancer deaths. We're also promoting a workplace equity program to improve equity for Black women in the workplace called Fair Work. Because we know if we actually had fair pay, equal pay, that alone would save tens of thousands of lives. It's amazing how these dots connect. Mm-hmm. And also learn about our lifestyle change program, Change Your Lifestyle, Change Your Life, which has helped thousands of people get healthier, lose weight, manage their stress, live a better life. But the thing that I want the everyday woman to know, and I consider myself in that group, is there are things we can do. Meditate, have a quiet space, get time alone, breathe, just kind of relax. We call it self-care. We need time on our own, just away from all the stresses, to just sort of look inward. This is enormously helpful. Of course, you know what I'm going to say, Dr. Nkem. Don't smoke, eat a healthy diet, get exercise when you can, get your regular screenings, get your well woman checks, you go to your annual physical, get your annual exams, stay on top of your health. When things don't feel right, go to your doctor. If you don't like the service you're getting from your doctor, find another one. You know, we say treat your physician like the cable repair guy. You wouldn't take bad service from him. Don't take it from your doctor either. And one of the things that's really, really important to know, and we say this all the time, is no is a complete sentence. Use it early and often. You know, we really have to manage our stress. We're the caretakers, as you mentioned. We're the breadwinners. Sometimes we're the caregivers of children, of families. We saw this with COVID-19. We were taking care of our own families. We were taking care of other people's families. We would take them in, our neighbors. We do so much, and then we get to our needs last. So please put yourself first. Know that you've got, you know, a tribe, a whole support network that one says it's okay to put yourself first, and will also give you the tools and resources you need. Because if we don't take care of ourselves, then we're really no good to anyone else. And I think Black women deserve to be as healthy as possible. I think we deserve the best information. We deserve the best science. We deserve mentorship and support and encouragement and the things that we need to be the inspiration that we are to all of those around us.
Well, you heard it from our experts. So we'll end the show today by summarizing key value riplets that we discussed today. So first of all, remember, we women, we are irreplaceable. We're part of the global economy, and we need to be healthy to contribute to that economy. Next, as Linda mentioned, take time for yourselves. No is a complete sentence. I'll remember that one. And something that happened recently, which speaks to what you're saying, Linda, and very dear to my heart. And I thank my friend Belle Torres for sharing her personal journey. She had gone to see an optometrist complaining of floaters. And she was told that, you know, you're okay, you're fine. She didn't take that. She went on to see an ophthalmologist to get a second opinion. And they told her she needs emergency surgery because she was having a retinal detachment and could have gone blind. So lucky for her, she did get that surgery. She is now recovering. So sending prayers your way, Belle, from the Val 360 family. But it's so profound how you can be in the driver's seat of your own healthcare as a woman. Get enough sleep, stay away from unhealthy habits. As Linda had mentioned, go for your regular checkups. You never know. If you see something, feel something, say something, check it out. Better to err on the side of caution. And lastly, we can do more. So our call to action here today is to support the cause to improve women's health. We want to thank the men who support the women in general and are always our ardent advocates to continue the pursuit of it. But supporting organizations like Black Women's Health Imperative is huge. Please go to the website. Please donate. All the donations that come to BWHI goes towards a great cause, and they constantly put out there the outcomes of all the impact of all the initiatives that they support and lead at BWHI. So please take the time to look at the website and please donate and support Linda and her amazing team. A disclaimer, I also serve on her board, and the reason I do so is because I believe in what BWHI does. It does matter to support women, make sure that we are advancing women's health in general, because it just lifts everybody up in every facet. It's all connected. So follow my social media handles, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and you will see more to come on this. More information will be posted on BWHI, how you can support, many more information that you heard here before that can help you sort of make it your own and serve as a reminder as to what you can do to support yourself, help yourself stay healthy. So I hope you use the value riplets you heard today on the show to continue sculpting your multidimensional self and start doing what's necessary so you can eventually do the impossible. So Linda, any last minutes talk or words to our audience before we close out?
Well, I just want to thank you, Dr. Nkem, for your work, for this opportunity, and just to remind Black women, there is nothing wrong with us. We are passionate about our health. We're doing everything we can do to be as healthy, and you've got a partner in your journey, your whole lifespan, to help eliminate those barriers, provide information, tools, and resources to help you make the best choices for your health and your family's health as possible. So keep doing what you're doing. Go to our website and know that this journey is one that can be filled with joy and health, and we're on your side. Thank you so much.
Awesome. So until we meet again, thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned, and more to come on Value 360. Be well.